With his UN ambassador under fire, President Obama drew a line in the sand today, telling reporters that anyone who doesn't trust Susan Rice's handling of the Benghazi attack should go after him, not her. Republican senators are doing just that. Here to talk about this dust-up is the former UN ambassador, Bill Richardson. He served during the Clinton administration. Governor, ambassador, I don't know what to call you anymore. Thanks very much for coming in.
Nice to be with you.
I'm going to play this little clip. This is Senator McCain, a man you know quite well, and the president arguing over Susan Rice.
We will do whatever's necessary to block the nomination that's within our power as far as Susan Rice is concerned.
If Senator McCain and Senator Graham and others want to go after somebody, they should go after me. And I'm happy to have that discussion with them. But for them to go after the UN ambassador, who had nothing to do with Benghazi, and was simply making a presentation based on intelligence that she had received, and to besmirch her reputation is outrageous.
Pretty extraordinary to see a president get into a fight like this with Senators McCain and Lindsey Graham.
This is really unfortunate, especially since it's only a few days after the election. We thought that bipartisanship was coming back, especially in foreign policy. I know Susan Rice. I've known her a long time. She's honorable, experienced, dedicated. And I got those intelligence briefs in the morning whenever we were dealing with a crisis. And
when you were the UN ambassador?
When I was UN ambassador. And you act and you say what your intelligence briefing said at the time. But then those intelligence briefings change because there's an ongoing investigation of what happened in Benghazi.
She went on those 5 Sunday talk shows 5 days or so after the attack on the U.S. consulate in Benghazi that killed the U.S. ambassador and 3 other Americans. And what she said was not accurate. But she insists she was just repeating what she had been briefed by the intelligence community.
That's the information she had. And I think just apart from that, Wolf, a president should have the right to nominate who he wants for Secretary of State.
But the Senate has the right to confirm or reject, right?
I know, but the candidates, if it's Senator Kerry, Susan Rice, Ambassador Rice, 2 excellent candidates. I mean, I don't think there's been a situation where a Secretary of State candidate has ever been blocked. So this is unprecedented.
You think the president will go ahead and nominate her?
I don't know. I don't know. But I think things should cool down. I think it's important that Senator McCain is the key figure in foreign policy in the Senate, President's commander-in-chief. I think they need to work at a little détente among themselves, and hopefully that'll happen.
They might need you to negotiate a deal or whatever. All right, let's move on. A very serious development today in Israel and Gaza. The Israelis go in with airstrikes, kill the Hamas military commander and others. It seems to be escalating big time, and some people are afraid of an all-out war. What's going on here?
Well, this is a very serious escalation. What is going on is my sense that Hamas is saying to the PLO, to the Palestinian people, we are the leaders. We are the ones with the rockets, with the arms. We know the Palestinians are going to the UN to get statehood. We think that we give you a better deal. That's very dangerous. Secondly, it puts the whole Egyptian-Israeli peace deal very, very dicey. That really worries me. And then
because
lastly,
of this new government in Egypt.
This new government, and the fact that no one seems to be controlling Hamas. And then the whole Palestinian, the whole Sinai Peninsula. I think it's very dangerous. I think
Where does Iran fit into this?
Well, Iran's a big player. They control Hamas. They're right now agitating. They're agitating probably Egypt. They're agitating Hamas.
And Hezbollah and Lebanon, presumably?
Yeah.
I mean, what concerns me, and as somebody who's covered this story for a long time, if tensions heat up with Hamas in Gaza, heat up with Hezbollah in Lebanon, from Lebanon, and Iran is working on its nuclear program, look at what's happening in Israel's neighbor in the north, Syria. There's a potential there for a huge explosion.
Yeah, there's a powder keg potential. This is another reason why this administration that has leverage, strength, now that the president won, should push once again for an Israeli-Palestinian agreement.
With the Palestinian Authority
with
in the West Bank.
Two-state solution. Push that. Get the Israelis supportive. But right now, I can understand what Israel's doing. defending itself.
2 years ago, almost to the day, you went to North Korea. I went with you. spent 6 days in Pyongyang. Since then, there's a new leader, Kim Jong-un, a young man who's now the leader of North Korea. You study this subject closely. I'm curious, do you see significant changes yet? Positive changes, negative changes? What do you see in North Korea?
I see positive changes. I think this young man is different than his father, his grandfather. He's reaching out to his people. It's still an oppressive regime. He is somebody that studied in Switzerland and Europe, so maybe knows Western ways. He has a leadership style that seems to be more open, more positive. I've got a hunch that this guy, we may want to do business with him. It may make sense to reach out. Now, in the past, our hands have been shut down when we try to do that. But I wouldn't dismiss this guy, and I think it makes sense to try to revive the six-party talks. I think he might be open to a deal to get rid of his nuclear weapons. They desperately need food. Their people are enormously poor. They need technology. I'd give this guy a little opening.
All right. We'll see what happens. Ambassador, thanks very much for coming in.
Thank you.
Bill Richardson, the former governor of New Mexico. I want to go right to our Pentagon correspondent, Barbara Starr. She's getting new information on Paula Broadwell. What are you learning, Barbara?
Oh, Wolf, some really stunning new information. CNN has learned from 2 U.S. officials that Paula Broadwell's security clearance has been suspended. She is a serving reservist, if you will, with the U.S. Army, a military intelligence analyst. As such, she would at least have a secret-level security clearance. We are now told that security clearance suspended pending the outcome of several investigations. We went to the Army to ask them for an official response. They will not say anything except the following, and let me read it to you. Quote, appropriate actions with regard to this officer's clearance and access have been taken. The statement goes on to say the Army has been cooperating with federal law enforcement authorities in this matter, and those actions are ongoing. Wolf, you will recall a couple of days ago, the FBI went to Broadwell's home. We all saw the video of FBI agents taking away boxes of material, computers, the discussion centering around what kind of classified information she might have had in her home. When someone with a security clearance has classified information in their home, there are 2 critical questions afoot. Do they have reason to have it? Is it a need-to-know basis? Does it relate to their professional work with the military for that security clearance? And are they appropriately protecting that information? The authority, they must have authority to take it out of a military base. They must have authority to have it in their home, and they must protect it. We know that these are the key questions, the critical questions being asked. We also now know her security clearance has been suspended, Wolf.
And that could just be the start. If she did, in fact, violate these procedures to protect national security secrets, she could be in deep potential criminal trouble as well. We have much more on this part of the story coming up at the top of the hour. Barbara Starr breaking that news for us here in the Situation Room. We'll take a quick break, continue our analysis of what the President of the United States said today at that first news conference since his re-election.